Hey everyone, this is Sankala, and I'm going to be doing a just a quick little UFC video on UFC 113. Um, this is my first video that I'm not going to watch myself record, so please forgive any weird movements, like I know crossing my arms. Pretty weird thing to do. Anyway, I was gonna cover, like I said, sorry, I just knocked my Xbox controller over. Anyway, I was gonna cover the Ultimate Fighter uh 13 finale and the Ultimate Fighter 13 just in general, but I can't really do that yet as the matchups haven't really been announced yet, and the Ultimate Fighter 13 isn't full until we know the outcome of the Ultimate Fighter. So I can't really, it'd be kind of multiple parts and scattered all over the part. So I figured instead I would do UFC 131, which is, of course, Brock Lesnar versus Junior Dos Santos. It is on June 11th. But the main card to start off is Brock Lesnar versus Junior Dos Santos, Shane Carwin versus John Olave Inimo, Mac Danzig versus Donald Cerrone, Damian Maia versus Mark Munoz, and Kenny Florian versus Diego Nunez. The preliminary card is Sam Stout versus Eve Edwards, Jesse Bongfield versus Chris Wheeldman, Dustin Poirier versus Jason Young, Nick Ring versus James Head, Joey Beltran and Dave Herman, then Michihiro Omagawa versus Daryl Atkins, and another announced bout which hasn't been announced by the UFC on .com, but they've let me reread this. These fights have been announced on UFC.com but have not been yet added to the official fight card. The only bout is Krzysztof Szosinski versus Igor Pekryak. So first I'm just going to break down the main card. It's Brock Lesnar versus Junior Dos Santos, which I think is a very, very, very fun matchup. Um, Brock Lesnar is, of course, a very good wrestler, and Junior Dos Santos is a very good striker. So I think this is the first fight in the UFC we're going to see Junior Dos Santos in a little bit of trouble. I mean, Sagano has literally run through everybody. The only person to really stand up to him was Roy Nelson, and that is a tough SOB to put away to stand for 3 rounds with Junior. Um, Brock showed that he does have a weakness with strikers against Kane, but it was a striker wrestler, not just a pure striker. This is definitely a hard matchup, but I am going to go with Junior Dos Santos versus the I'm gonna say second round TKO. Um, the only reason I'm not going with Brock is there's just there's something about Junior that I think he's gonna stop Brock. Brock is definitely going to put Junior on his back. He's definitely going to put him in some trouble. But I definitely think Junior at some point is going to catch Brock. And I don't think Brock is going to be able to handle being caught very well. We saw him against Shane Carwin almost get finished. He got finished against Kane. There is that chance, and Junior Dos Santos is one of the most heavy-handed guys out there. So I'm definitely going with Junior on this one. The heavyweight bout, Shane Carwin versus John Olave Nemo. Shane Carwin, of course, we all know coming off the Brock Lesnar loss, and anyone who doesn't know, I personally did not know John Olave Nemo. He's coming off a about a almost 5 year layoff. His record is 6-1. His only loss comes to Fabricio Verdum via a unanimous decision in '06. After that, his last fight was a submission armbar win over James Thompson. Uh, he is, from what I can tell, definitely a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu practitioner. Um, he has a lot of highlights and career wins in the ADCC Submission Wrestling World Championship. Um, he's the only man to defeat Roger Gracie in Abu Dhabi tournament, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So I think this is definitely going to be a very very fun fighter to have in the UFC. He is 6'6" and he's listed as 240 pounds, which means he will be a midweight uh, type of player in the UFC. I definitely have to go with Shane Carwin on this one. I'm gonna say Carwin via first round knockout, just because we all know how strong and powerful Carwin has been lately. I mean, he's coming off the arm triangle choke loss to Brock in the heavyweight championship, but I definitely, a 5 year layoff, that's a lot of ring rust. And to come in against a guy like Shane Carwin, who is definitely, coming off his first career loss, he's not looking to go, two losses in a row. That's definitely not something he wants to do. So I think we're going to see a motivated Shane Carwin. I think he's going to stop any takedown attempts, and I think it's just going to be a flat destruction of John Olavinimo. The next fight is a lightweight bout between Mac Danzig and Donald Cerrone. Mac Danzig is coming off a win against Joe Stevenson versus KO. It was a very nice punch he caught him with that pretty much put Joe Stevenson out cold. Before that, a technical submission choke to Matt Wyman. This is a little bit of a controversial decision. It was a technical submission, but he didn't tap and he wasn't out. So it was a mess up of the referee. And before that, a unanimous decision win against Justin Buchholz. Donald Cerrone is coming off. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Jamie Varner in the WEC via decision, then Chris Hradecki via triangle choke, and then Paul Kelly versus via a rear naked choke. I definitely have to go with Donald Cerrone in this fight. Mac Danzig is a very good fighter, but I don't see him bringing the type of pressure that's needed to beat Donald Cerrone. So I'm going to go with Cerrone via unanimous decision. The next fight is a middleweight bout between Damian Maia and Mark Munoz. This is going to be a very, very interesting fight to see. Mark Munoz is a very heavy-handed wrestler. Damian Maia, of course, a very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. I'm going to go with Damian Maia via second-round submission just because of the dangers of Damian Maia and his ability that I think if Anderson Silva couldn't stop him, I don't see Mark Munoz stopping him, and I see at some point this fight going to the ground and Damian definitely coming away with a submission victory. The next fight, in the last fight on the main card, is a featherweight bout between Kenny Florian and Diego Nunez. This is Kenny Florian's debut at featherweight, which I think will be a very nice weight class for him. Diego Nunez is 16-1 coming on. He's on a 3-fight win streak, a split decision over Mike Brown, a decision over Tyler Toner, and a split decision over Rafael Assunção. Before that, his only career loss to LC Davis via unanimous decision. Definitely from, I don't know, I personally haven't seen Diego Nunez fight a lot. I can't really remember him fighting, but you just, I think you definitely have to go with Kenny Florian on this one. I mean, I know it is his featherweight debut, but this is Kenny Florian we're talking about. He's not, he's, I don't know, how do you describe Kenny Florian? He's a very smart, very technical fighter, and I definitely see him, I'm going to say, third round rear naked choke, just to throw something out there. The preliminary card, I'm not really going to cover just because it would be a lot of fights and I'm running out of time, so I might add something later. But this was just a little video to put out there to show my opinions on the fight. So I'm not really sure. Yeah. So I guess that's it. So peace out. I just wanted to do a UFC video. So yeah, there we go. All right.